Here we go. Yeah, welcome all to Startup in a Month 2, Day 10. So, yeah, unless you've been following this in real time, you might not know, but I took about a week off of live streaming last week. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of experiment around with like what I'm doing here, work on my schedule, work on my kind of my rhythm and my flow throughout the day, just to try to come up with something that's going to work for me a little better. This is, yeah, maybe something that's kind of, yeah, I don't know if it's obvious or not to appreciate from the outside, but yeah, there's just a lot of stuff to do, right? There's a lot of stuff to do just building the app. There's a lot of stuff to do when you're streaming the development of the app yourself. So, yeah, I've just been trying to figure out like a better balance and, something that's going to enable me to kind of like work consistently and not burn myself out or, end up being like too much to bite off or chew or something. So anyway, yeah, just experimenting around with, taking a little break from things, kind of like readjusting, course correcting, taking opportunities to do so since, like, hey man, I'm the one steering the ship, right? Like, I'm the one calling the shots here. I'm the one who gets to decide what stays and what goes. So, anyway, yeah, feeling better now that I've kind of taken a week off from things, and I am going to be streaming in the afternoons for now. So, give that a shot for a week, see how it works, and we will go for it. Yeah, just a little bit of news. Man, my internet is really slow today. The box outside where all the cables coming into is like kind of covered in snow right now. So or not even snow. It's like got a half-inch thick layer of ice on there. So that might have something to do with it. But at any rate, yeah, got a new blog post up this morning, which is a summary of week 3. So if you'd like to check that out, that's up on startupamonth.net. Yeah, it's like actually one thing I really enjoy about this process is the writing of the blog posts. Just kind of sharing the experience and having the opportunity to like take some time out to kind of write about what I've been doing and how I'm thinking and feeling about things. That's been a really positive thing. But let's see. What I want to see here. Yes, the development of month 2 startup pick story will be extended 2 weeks into month 3. So, yeah, I think I'm in another situation again where I've bitten off a little bit more than I can chew, and if I only had this final week to finish building pick story out, I don't think I'd finish it. So I want to take the opportunity to just give myself a little bit more time, like a couple months. JCY time, welcome back. Oh, hey man, thanks. Appreciate you showing up. Glad to be back on the horse, back in the game. Feels good. Really like working while I'm on the stream. It's man, it's kind of lonely in this room, right? Like I'm just over here myself building this thing on my own. So yeah, really nice to have people in the stream with me to watch and follow along. But at any rate, I'm going to be taking 2 more weeks to build up Pick Story. And yeah, I think that I have an interesting opportunity to, some of them are really tiny, work on some of like my really tiny ideas. So if I take 2 weeks in March to finish February's startup, then I've got a couple of like small ideas that I could work on. I was wondering why the Twitch notification was broken last week. Nah. Nah, it wasn't the Twitch notification. It was just me taking a break from things. So anyway, your Twitch app is well and good. Appreciate that, man. Thank you. Yeah, I think I want to take another couple weeks to finish this thing. But for these like really tiny ideas that I've got, I would like to take the opportunity to build out some of those and see what I can get done in 2 weeks and kind of test the idea that. The smallest possible thing you can make is often the most, like, kind of effective, like, best thing you can do. It doesn't take years and years to, make something that's, like, gonna make you money or something. Well, actually, tiny projects. Yeah, if you're interested in stuff that's, like, kind of similar to what I'm doing, I can suggest tinyprojects.dev, which, Yeah, there's a whole list of like these like really tiny things. Yeah, one item store. I think that's where I hooked into this guy's story. So yeah, this is like little like geez, what would you call it? CMS, not CMS. Whatever the thing is that like builds a store for you automatically. Like kind of like a Shopify thing or like a God, I was just talking about this with someone like an hour ago. What is it? Anyway, it's just something where like you have like one item and you can build a store for like one single item. So yeah, it's like really interesting, right? Like that seems like too small to be like feasible if you're like talking about things in terms of like actually making money from this. But yeah, how much money did this guy make from this thing? He actually got a lot of takers for it. Monetization, no monthly costs, 1% cuts. I think he talks about earning money from these things somewhere. But anyway, you can have a idea that is as small as a store that sells a single item and still have it be something that you could, actually like put out there into the world and, people are interested in that and people want to pay money for you for that. So yeah, got my own like tiny ideas, and I think it'll be interesting to take an opportunity to actually build some of those. So anyway, all that being said, Pig Story. Wow, this thing is in an interesting state right now. I was working last week on the auth system, so the method by which you actually sign into the site and create a user account and log in, and it's got all kinds of implications for like if someone uploads a picture to this thing, like what account is it associated with, what picture should someone have access to while they're browsing. Yeah, if people want to pay me, like what is their like payment information associated with, and how can I make sure that users have accounts and they have like payment methods to like sign up for this thing. So anyway, I was working on that. Got most of the way there, I think. I'm not sure I want to build it on the stream because yeah, it just doesn't seem like a good idea to like broadcast that kind of thing, right? Like the ins and outs and intricate details of your user authentication system just seems like something that's good to keep private. But I think there's a lot of work left to do on the UI side of things. So I think for today I'm going to try to get this into a better state. It's like 3:17. I'm going to stop at 5, so I got like an hour and 45 to work on this. Yeah, so let's just like jump right into it, shall we? Need to update what I'm doing for the benefits of the viewers at home. Touch of refactoring. Here we go. Oh, you might also notice, if I can take a moment to zoom in here, another thing I was working on was like my local development environment. So we've got the ability to serve this thing from a VM, which is like super cool. So instead of like localhost whatever, I've got my own little like URL that points to the development server that's running on my machine. I've got the ability to serve it under HTTPS, which is awesome because serving a page over SSL has all kinds of implications in terms of like core stuff and security stuff and a lot of browser stuff that kind of like revolves around the idea that like you've got an SSL certificate and certain things like serving mixed content, like both HTTP and HTTPS resources. That's something that like browsers don't really like, so that's really cool. And I could do this before, but it was with like a self-signed certificate. But now if we take a look here, we can see that verified by SIAM. So I actually was able to follow a like a guide which lets me like kind of fake that I am my own like certificate authority, which is like really kind of wacky and cool. So yeah, I was getting notifications like, oh, there's this certificate and we don't know what it is, so maybe you should trust it, maybe you shouldn't. which is causing a bunch of like browser issues in terms of all the aforementioned stuff. So nowadays I've got a super legit setup which gives me a URL under HTTPS that the browser can trust. So that is a whole category of problems that I'll either no longer experience or which I will experience early. Because experiencing these things early is really good in terms of just building something from the start, which is like going to work in production. So now I've got a local development environment that is like very almost one-to-one the same as my production environment, or what my production environment is going to be. So that's a great feeling. And I've also got some like VS Code Workspaces. So if you are a VS Code user, you can have these things called workspace configurations, which I always kind of like see notifications about but never actually worked with. But yeah, one thing that's kind of been dogging me is the fact that, and this is a little bit hard to see from where we're standing right now, but if you look at all this stuff, this is like the whole app right here, like landing page and all, right? Like I've got like 3 apps, one for the landing page, one for the back end, one for the app. Just like dancing between these things and figuring out like where I am and what file I'm looking at, and you know whether this pick story core is the landing page pick story core or the app core page. Just like very tricky and confusing. Just one of those like dumb things, you know, which like comes about from the fact that we're humans and you know working in these like textual environments is like not the most natural thing in the world. So anyway, I've got these little like config files which you know just consist of like an activity bar thing, but what that can enable me to do is have like a color for each workspace. So I've got this like nice teal color for the back end, I've got this nice like yellow color for the app itself, and then just for the sake of demonstration, if we open this workspace, I got this nice like beachy like pina colada pink for the landing page. So that'll be a big productivity boost as well. It's kind of a silly thing, but you know, if you take a half hour to you know learn how to do these things and just give yourself like something that's like dead simple, obvious. When it comes to organization, you know, it can kind of take away that mental static that comes from figuring out like, oh, which directory am I in, which file is this, you know, where should I be going, what am I doing? So super stoked about that too. Yes, but enough proselytizing. It's time to get to work. Okay. So let me see here. Let's figure out what it was that I wanted to change. Yeah, what I want to change about this is the following. Block selector, template grid. Yeah, the button layer and the template layer. So this I think was a good idea in theory, where I've got like a layer for the buttons which actually add content to the, which button is this? It's the close button. Which actually add content to the page, so these things, if it's even working right now, which I don't think it is, yep, it's just totally putting it in the wrong place. Yeah, these memes, I got a different picture. So theoretically, this button layer should be on top, and this template layer should be down below, and if my CSS wasn't all borked up, you know, these things would be sitting like on top of each other. You'd have like an element which was like definitely used for adding an image, and an element which was like definitely used for rendering the image. These things shall not intersect, they shall not be the same thing, which you know, has kind of implications for like building the code out and accessibility and you know, having like nice semantic HTML. But having these things in 2 sibling divs isn't really working out for like various reasons. So I think I want to have like just a template grid or something, and then I want to refactor the style so that the buttons and the template layers occupy the same div, just for like organizational purposes. So I think that's where we're going to go today. Let's just take a moment, have a sip of water, compose ourselves. Put down these nervous refactoring feelings. Wrap the text. Yep, toggle word wrap. Let's open up the REPL. I find Calva has the easiest time when I've got the REPL or the config file like open and REPL. Yep, here we go. That's another thing I was working on a lot was not only getting this thing on a Vagrant server, but also getting Shadow CLJS to make a NREPL port available so I could still have the benefit of the REPL even though I'm not like doing this locally, and to most significantly have the like hot reloading WebSocket connection happen over a specific port. That was a lot of work I was doing last week as well. So theoretically I've got a REPL connection. I think I do, I hope I do. If I refresh, just close this down for a sec and try to do anything at all. I hope. Split down, close. Output.calva, yep, there we go. Now I think I should be able to add some stuff. I should be able to say load this file. Yep. And then if I want to say like atom blocks. Excellent. Okay, so I have a working REPL connection. That's like super duper important for debugging purposes. And I've also got this thing way over to the side. I should put that there. Alright, so great, we're exactly where we need to be. And where do I go from here? I think I need to render layout buttons, render template grids. I think I've got to like get rid of all these extra A's for one. And then let's see. I think I need a map function which renders these buttons as well as the grids. So div class template layer. Right, so this is going to give me like a wrapper div. Top to bottom, top to bottom. So got button layer and template layer. It's a bit concerning that I hit save there, but it didn't show up. Concerning indeed. Shadow CLJS 10 ready. Man, I hate having these moments on the stream where something I thought was like good to go is like not actually good to go. Oh, you know what I can do? I can probably need to open a new window for this, don't I? Technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen. Open folder, we'll just open the root folder. And now I think what I need to do, system control. That's fine. Nope. Man. I do this every single time. Sudo supervisor control. There we go. Nope, it's all up and running, right? Service Nginx reload, perhaps. active and running. Shadow CLJS number 11 is ready. Well, we can't do anything until the changes we make show up in the DOM, can we? Test 1, 2, 3. You're still showing up even though I told you not to. Oh boy. Yeah, that's the one, right? Oh, hold on a second. Temp class, flex call temp class. Ah, that's the... Oh, hold on, what? Test 4, 5, 6. Yeah, no, this is all goofed, man. Oh well. It's okay. How is it that I can get the state from the app, but I can't... Yeah, so I've got like no images yet, but I should have 3 images now. Yeah, so I can like query the state of the app. It's really weird. But yeah, if we did something ridiculous like a funny cat photo. Katzenwald. View image. Yeah, if we made like this, that, and then we made like something else square. Let's make this easy. View image. Made like this, that. Did I not load it into the REPL? Do I have to do that? Man, I'm such a closure noob. Okay, cool. So now we got these 2 variables in the REPL. So if I refresh, and I click add those images, nope, still get them, huh? If I did like print line test image 1, preview.read, it's so I just loaded the whole file in. Now if I refresh, still get the memes. Print line, test image 2. Yep, still memes, not the right one. I wonder. What are these errors? Valid DOM property, that's okay. No images, that's okay. Just don't understand how it's possible. Huh. So I think what this means is that I've got a connection to the REPL, which is like half of what I need, but I don't have my hot reloading working, which makes me wonder if this is indeed the app that's running, if that makes sense. Like, am I in the app, which is like being sent to the browser right now? Source path, source 9090, 9092. Let's see. Well, there's a couple ways we can test that, right? Sudo supervisor control stop app. Alright, and REPL connection closed. Can no longer connect that gateway. Okay. Now we say start app. Tail if app. It's gonna be like, oop. I'm gonna make you bigger, not close you. Alright. Yep, everything's running on the right ports. If we refresh, it's not gonna be back yet, but it will be soon. Not yet, not yet, not yet. Yes. Okay, more clues. We have stopped and started the server, which presumably made a new build, but we're still getting the old images. So I wonder... hold on. Stale output. So if I refresh, will I get my new images? Well, that's... and still the stale outputs. Just to watch for this build running. I can only assume it is. Oh. Now my layout problems are fixed. Man, what the heck? Response. Ping pong, are connected. There's the data it sent. Maybe if we connect to the REPL one more time. 991, I think that's right. Connect to the front end build. File blocks. Yeah. Okay. Just patience, chill. Could figure it out. So I can load the namespace. It knows the namespace I'm in. Hot reload is not happening. It's basically where we're at. Yep, I think it's all okay. So my next idea is to run this not from supervisor, but to run it from from here. All right. So this is the script for actually running. I wonder if I should put the camera in a different point. Let's put my stuff up here for the time being, top half of the screen. Yeah, missing dependencies, updating class path. Alright, site is now running. Now I hope I got those different pictures. Nope. Man, what's the deal, guys? I don't get it. So if I look at the files on my local machine, oh, hello, configuring, build, compiling. Compiling. I think I need to give this VM a little more memory. And this VM development thing is theoretically exactly what I should be doing, right? It's like, I think it's pretty much standard practice in most, development firms, companies, businesses that like, no, which way is up? I feel like it's got a lot of benefits. It also adds a lot of like complexity as well. So I kind of question whether it's the right thing for me at this point in the game, even though I've put kind of a lot of work into making it happen. So on the one hand, it's going to expose me to all the problems that I don't know I'm going to have. Hey, what's up, Mickey? Thanks for joining. Glad to have you on the stream, man. Yeah, anyway, I was just speculating that, maybe this VM thing is not the right thing for me at this point in time. But I've got so much config in Shadow CLJS Eden that's oriented around the VM now, so I wonder if I could even get this thing working locally again. Okay, compiling, build completed. What if I go back here and I just say change a doc string, change a class name, test123. Hello, is this thing on? Thanks, watched a few streams recently. I appreciate it, man. I get too many viewers from YouTube. I mostly use YouTube as a kind of a place for long-term storage of my recorded streams. But if I'm ever like promoting this thing out in the wild, I usually leave the Twitch link. So yeah, it's always kind of fun to have people watching on YouTube. So you guys just kind of like show up out of the woodwork so far as my perspective is concerned. That's a nice thing. It's a nice idea that, like, your thing is just out there and, like, being discovered even though you've not put that much work into actively promoting it. I think that's a really good place to be. Oh, man, but do they want to come and watch you while you're doing all this nonsense? Yeah, you know, in the interest of form, God, how is it possible that, like, it's running these things? I'm also new to Clojure. I'm a junior developer working with Clojure day to day, building a mobile web extension using Clojure script. Ooh, that's really interesting. I've built one browser extension. Yeah, it's like really interesting working with the browser through that context, since you're like accessing stuff on the page in such a unique way. It's kind of like, geez, it's kind of yeah, it goes in the face of a lot of the things that kind of the web like doesn't allow you to do. Because one thing that like web pages really don't want is you know, some other web page inside the web page, which, you know, can scrape things like, you know, user credentials and passwords and usernames and stuff. Yeah, I think there's like a lot of special tools which, like, you know, allow you to do that in the context of a browser extension, but, you know, are either hard or impossible to do with a normal website. So yeah, doing browser extension stuff is really interesting. I kind of like to do more of it. Yeah, man, I hope you get something out of this. I think the name of the game today is going to be Debugging, and I think I'm just gonna attempt to take the easy way out here. Let's just close this. Let's just minimize these. Yeah, let's just see if we can get this thing running locally again. Alright, so we'll go into the app. Shadow CLJS. I think I'm just going to use document protocol. I forget what that was for. Target browser, pick story coordinates. I think I've got what I need now. So if I say Kelva, connect to jack in, select build start front end. Oh, so much faster. I've got the full contingency of RAM on my computer, as opposed to the small fraction of RAM I gave to the VM. Okay, so now I think just head over to localhost 9090. Oh, hello. And now still the frickin'. Oh wait. Okay, so we're not fully connected. I don't think the build is fully finished either. If we still get these old photos, I'm going to eat my hat. I don't have a hat to eat. It's kind of a silly statement. Configuring build, compiling. Reading local hosts. Build completed. Alright. It's also entirely possible I was changing the wrong links, and I think I was. Oh. So now I think. Ah, God. See what I'm saying with like getting confused about like where you are? I'm not quite sure that that was what was going on. So, oh, if I just open this up again. Well, can I do this from a subdirectory? I think I can. If I went to like app, then I said open the terminal, and then I said like supervisor control. If I say start app, let's just follow that for a bit. Actually, it's not going to work with those. Stop app. Start app. Okay. Yeah, I think I've defined these here, but I'm actually not using them here. Yeah. So if I just head back here, comment these up for the time being. Tail F app. And dependencies updated, but websites not started. That's okay because it is starting. All right. While it's starting, I'm going to grab a drink of water, so I'll be back in approximately 2 seconds. Alright, we're watching the front end build. And it's trying to get up. Browser knows something coming, but it's not there yet. In the meantime, I can fiddle with my video. It's going to be a better place for it, right? I don't really need it in the bottom right. The bottom left, rather. There's enough stuff going on in the bottom left of the screen to warrant putting it in the bottom right. $19.93. I don't think that's right. Come on, buddy, I know you can do it. And that's all correct. Watching build. Channel Shield.js reconnecting. Console. Now the question is, connect to a running REPL server. Shout CLJS, localhost 9091. Let's That's all good. Connect to the front end. That's good. All right. Change the images here. Oh, the images change here. No. Ah, man. Oh, how frustrating. What? Still in the user namespace? No available JS runtime. Shadow CLJS number 7 ready. Alright. Ah, that's cool. I didn't know that would show up in the actual developer console. Ooh. Yes. Okay, cool. Wow. Alright. It's a lesson I have learned constantly in the man, when did I start? 2016. It's been 5 years I've been developing apps on the web. It's a lesson I've constantly had to learn over and over again, and which is really hard to keep straight and remember, but literally everything, every single little thing you do under the sun takes so much longer than you expect it to, and if something happens faster than you think it will, it's an absolute treat, and you should not readjust your expectations to think that you're always going to get that thing done at that pace, at that speed, because frankly, man, if you're there, you're probably just like stuck in a rut and you know, working on the same stuff over and over again and like not learning. Not learning is you know, it's not the worst thing in the world to do. A lot of people spend their lives in an environment where they don't learn very much, but I don't know, man, I need to learn. And if you're gonna learn, you gotta pay. What is this thing on? And in my mind, I didn't really do anything different to make this work compared to last time. I don't know, maybe you people with more experience or keener eyes can tell me why. Yeah, speaking of learning, let's see. It's one of the persistent mysteries of Clojure, specifically Clojure script, and definitely the tools you use in Clojure script, like Figwheel. I was never quite sure about this, and Shadow CLJS, I'm definitely not sure about it, but I'm not sure when and how hot reloading happens. So let's just do a little experiment here, since we're having a learning afternoon and not really a you know, rapid progress kind of afternoon. Silly dog picture. So, which one? Perfect. I don't think I'll be able to hot link that from my app with a URL like that, though. Silly dog picture. That's pretty silly. Okay. Man, I just need a normal JPEG or something, man. How about this one? There we go. Something with the URL. Okay, so test image 2. Which namespace am I in? Got the index namespace loaded, but I'm changing the layout blocks namespace. So what if I do this? Save that. I got the sign. Something changed and hot reloaded. So if I add another window pane layout block and I add pictures to it, will it be the different picture? Yes, it will. Why wasn't that happening last time? Absolute. If I do something really crazy and just like change the class name of the content selectors, for instance. Or no, hold on. Relative. What would be a really obvious change to make? How about just deleting a class name? Deleting this class template layer. That should really bork things up. Yeah, and that's what it would look like if I didn't have the class template layer on there. But if I put that back in, reload. The DOM is not different. So you see I took that class off and then the layout was wrong, but then I put it back on and it's okay. So yeah, hot reloading's still a bit of a mystery to me. Maybe it just doesn't work in the way that I think it works. Maybe it's more like a hot reloaded like JavaScript thing as opposed to like hot reloading and changing the markup on the DOM. But at any rate, we got to work it again, so that's great. Okay, cool. So yeah, I want to render these things like not as sibling elements, not in wrappers that are right next to each other, but I want to render them inside the same layer div. So how do I do that? Yeah, I think the first thing I would do is into a fragment, go the following things, and I think I would change the name of what this thing is. So now I have button layer. Render templates. Alright. So here we go. Gonna delete that soon, but not right now. And if I say render template grids, to an empty array. You know, maybe, hold on. If I say something like this, so they both just render into a fragment now. Template map. As a wise man once told me, warnings can be ignored. Errors must be addressed. Okay, so I think I can keep them in their own individual render functions, but if I just like render them in a wrapper div, which doesn't have a class yet, but will soon. Okay, cool. So is my markup structure right? These are just going into one big anonymous div, and if I add a new one to the page, the same thing will happen, I hope. No image yet. Yeah, I think this is kind of messed up in a way that's a little confusing to see, but if we go into the markup itself, I think we'll see what we want to see. Div. So I can see two divs. Window pane and side by side. I'm guessing we're going to see window pane selector and side by side selector. Alright, let's just start at the start here. So we got our button, that's okay. We got the button layer for the first one. You know, let's make this just a little easier to see. Button layer, that's okay. This is the button layer. That's the button in the middle. That's the template. Okay. Yeah, and then we got the two things. Okay, so I think I do actually need to render everything in the context of like one single div. Yeah, because if I say like render template grids, render templates, that means I'm going to get this button and the button, which like actually adds the images one after the other, but really I want them to be like interleaved with these add new layout block buttons like in between. So function index item. And I think that's actually going to be easier to do than I thought. So we're both looping over the atom blocks. So if I just add this thing down here, block item, and I think we're going to need this. I'm going to have a wrapper div, and then I'm going to move both the selector blocks and the templates into that div. And then I'm just going to call it render templates and not the grids. Okay. So now if I refresh, consciously choosing to ignore the warnings, we get the button, we get the tests, we add another layout block. Button test, button test. Okay, this is exactly where I want to be. Okay. So what we're going to call that test div is something different, right? We are going to call it template display. Template display is going to have a very simple set of CSS rules. Okay, public CSS. Nope, not there. It's an index. And let's just send it down to the bottom. Okay, so display grid, template columns, one fraction, grid, template rows, one fraction, grid, template columns, one fraction, and don't really need this for the grid layout per se, but we do like it. Nth child 1, yeah. I'm gonna get the first and give it a certain z index, and then I want to get the second list item. Yep, nth child 1, and nth child 2. Z index, that's gonna be the button, so it goes on top. Second one is gonna be the images; those go on bottom. I wonder if that was enough. Or is there something else I have to do? Nope, something else I have to do. What is it? The grid. Okay. I think if I grid template areas, content. I think I'll just give these things the same grid area, then they will snap to it. Grid area contents. Mind the semicolon. Refresh the page. There we go. Yep. Nah, they're both one on top of the other. No, they're not. Why not? Did I target you with my CSS? Kind of looks like I didn't. Have I heard of Reagents? Yes, I am using Reagents. Reagent is the React ClojureScript React library of choice that I'm using right now. So, yep, that's what we're currently using. I think there's a few others. There's like there's Rum. I think was like the original React wrapper for ClojureScript, and then Rum came somewhere in between and somewhere after. And I think the appeal of Rum is that Rum does not force you to use a library-specific atom. Yeah, I use Reagent. Ah, cool. Nice, nice. Yeah. Yeah, the one thing I know is like, yeah, haven't used Dom, don't really know too much about it. Used Reagent a lot, really like it. But one thing that's Reagent works you do is use this like special like reagent atom thing, which is how they hook into the kind of like React like state thing to make it so you can use like a ClojureScript-ish atom in order to like save React state and render React state. But apparently one of the things with Rum is that does not limit you to using like a reagent style atom. So yeah, that might be something you're into, but yeah, I mean, for my purposes, Reagent is like totally fine. So I think I will stick with it, especially from the perspective that it is, I think, the more popular library. Template display with child 2, z index 0. No effect on this element since it's not a positioned element. Hey, stay open. What's this? Z index is no. Z index is no what? Z index is no what? Alright, I think I need div class relative window pane. Yeah, if I add relative to the other one, will that work? Layout blocks, div class, relative. Ah, they've all got it as a wrapper class. And what if I get really lazy? Man, I'm jumping all over the place here. Render templates, block item, template map. Yeah, it's probably the easiest to go into the layout blocks themselves to change this. All right. Window pane, relative, side by side, relative, side by side. Don't think I need you to have the relative class, but doesn't really hurt. What am I building? Let me get the link for you in just a second. It's our template selector, context selector. Yeah, I think that's okay. If you go to startupinamonth.net, you check out the Startup 2 pitch, you can see the thing I'm building. Yeah, won't take too long to explain it here since I'm trying to keep the production up and get something done here. But startupinamonth.net/pickstorypitch, that'll have the full description of what we're actually building here. Window pane. I thought you should have gotten that relative class. Border 2, border black. Ah. This is. Oh, no. relative, border 2. Thought I put everything in there. Yeah, it doesn't even solve my layout problem, does it? Relative, position relative. You know what, I didn't, I don't even think I wrote my selectors right. Ah, there we go. No, everything's super messed up. Okay. So, yep, it's definitely what we wanted. Oh, God. Template display. Okay. Slowly pick things apart. What went wrong? Does this have a height at all? Yes. It does have a height. 1, 2, 3, 4. But buttons don't with full height auto. Okay, so there's a potential problem. And when they have contents, they have a right height. Okay, height auto. Oh, yeah, here's a perpetual problem. So what you really want to get is something where you don't have to define your heights and widths in like very specific terms, like something like, 100 pixels or 12 rem or something. It's the web is a pretty amazing platform, but one of its downsides is that it runs on like a billion devices. So if you want to have a prayer of anything looking like it should, then specifying your heights and widths in relative units is really the way to go. As the second you start defining things in terms of fixed units, you're kind of like baking in the assumptions and conditions that are like, specific to like the device that you're developing on into the code, which causes a lot of stress and heartache. I don't even know what I would do here. So maybe I can say like heights. I've got height full. What does height full do? Height full means height 100%. 100% of what? The container that's in, which probably doesn't have a height, which is probably why that class is not working. Height screen. Height auto. Oh no, I've got height auto on it, don't I? Yeah, what if I did like height auto for just a second? Would that make a difference? Width full, height full. So here I'm using view width units. Here I'm using percentages. Okay, so if I want these things to be 1/4 of the width of the screen, I guess I could use the same, min max 25 view widths. That make everything okay? Well, maybe not in the browser tools. 50%. 25 VW. Window pane with full height auto. Oh, I definitely changed you, man. I changed your class. With full height full. It's making me nervous that these things aren't showing up. It's kind of dark when it's not morning. Shh, with full height auto. Class relative. Alright. Just for the time being, can make things a little easier on myself and just focus on the buttons. So if I just focus on the buttons, go back here, refresh. I hope the templates don't show up, but of course they do, or do they? Having problems. Oh, you know what? Maybe it's gonna tell me when this hot reloads. Maybe the problem I'm having is that my VM doesn't have enough RAM, so it's like watching. It's watching for file changes, but I'm not seeing them quick enough. Yeah, if that was true, then like I would have seen height auto go away a long time ago. So we can't be having that. App Workspace, this is HDev. Yep, so this is the version on the VM. We already know this isn't going to work, but just for the sake of experimentation, that should show up here. That's not showing up here. Okay, a bit of a debuggish stream. We're having. Help. Okay. Help main tail. Supervisor main log file. That's not what we want. To view error log. Logging for supervisored view logs conveniently. You can get the main log. Tail. Help tail. Oh, there it is. Proc name app standard error. What? Tail app standard error. What? Tail dash 1000 app standard error. Not well formed. App standard out. refresh just one more time. Maybe a restart app. Status app. Oh, hello. It's not good. Nor source file. What? Tail-1000 app. Shadow user eval, no source app. Stop app. Start app. Tail app. Launching build front end. Alright. Nope, that was from before. Alright. It's no longer running. It's about to be running. Stale outputs. Still stale output. Okay, so there's a new markup, which is definitely good. And we also don't have our template row underneath, so that's definitely good, but yeah, man, not great. Not great from the perspective of, like, I want to be able to make changes and have them appear straight away and not go through that, like, whole long complicated process of restarting my server every time. Alright. Okay, so that z-index stuff is goofing us up. So as a first step, let's remove that. I think that'll help things tremendously. Okay. Yep, now hopefully we can add in our template map again. Yeah, here's another like closure script thing, and now I think that's maybe why I was making changes to my HTML that weren't showing up, because like if you look here, template map, and then you look here, this might be a little bit hard to read, but it's saying like get the name of the template from the template map. So if you're rendering like a single row, get the single row content renderer. If you're rendering a window pane, get a window pane content renderer. So I had this template map thing below the actual place where it was being used, like it was right here. And Lisp has this like, or Lisp in general I'm sure does this, but maybe Lisp doesn't do this. Maybe it's just a closure thing. But anyway, I had like a function here which like basically couldn't run, right? Like I had a variable that I needed, which was defined down here, and instead of like crashing my app, it just kind of like went with it. Like it's just like, oh well, I don't know how to like run this function, but I can still like run 95% of the rest of my app. So I'm gonna assume you're cool with it. We're just gonna go with it. But meanwhile, I was trying to make changes to the stuff that was broken, and it wasn't showing up. And like, I didn't know why it wasn't working. So anyway, that's something that like trips me up quite a lot. Yeah, I'm now remembering I said you can ignore a warning, but maybe a warning is a little more meaningful in closure land, because what is a warning enclosure would just be like a, you know, a application halting error in any other language. So pay attention to these things when they happen. Okay, so now I can make changes to markup and they show up. Right, so I removed my silly thing and now it doesn't show up anymore. Okay, so relative and window pane. Linter like CLJ Condo should pick that up, I think. Ah, Kim Stewart, welcome. Yeah, you know, I would use CLJ Condo, but it does not play well with Calva, etc. Quirks. Or does it? Condo. CLJ. I think workspace layouts using Calva with X, Condo. Yeah, maybe we should just install that like right now. CLJ Condo. Great name, by the way. Install an SSH dev. Linter for closure and closure script. This extension, yada yada yada, requires no additional installation. Good to see you back in the stream, man. Hope you've been well. Glad to see you can show up in the afternoon, even though I was usually streaming in the morning. CLJ Condo, yeah. So if I like move this down here, will it give me a linting error? Not yet, but maybe later. Okay, well, I'll experiment with that later, but yeah, I should definitely get into that because it's like really easy to get wrapped up in errors like that and wonder what's going on. Okay, so template display, need to go back to CSS school. Child. Selects the second li element in a list. Right, so instead of adding that to the template display, what I really need to do was like template display anything I've passed to that div, nth child 1. It's easy mistake to make as well. I do it all the time. I'm used to languages where order doesn't matter. Or the order doesn't matter. Yeah. I guess in ES5 JavaScript you could do a bunch of stuff with like variable hoisting and stuff. Say like you define a variable somewhere and hoist a variable. Geez, I don't even really know how it works, but yeah, that was like some experience I've had with that. Okay. I'm curious though, what languages do you speak with or work with on a day-to-day basis? All right, marching top 20. That's a problem. Always interested to know. All right, there's the last one. Okay, it's seen the changes. C# mostly, but lately it's been JS. Oh no. Poor form to open your own stream while you're on the stream itself. Channel. Just need to get to the chat. Mute. C# mostly, but lately it's been JS and Visual Basic, specifically Visual Basic that writes JavaScript. Oh man, that's crazy, man. VB, which writes JS, man. That must have been something which was written like 1,000 years ago. Okay, so we got the button. We got these. Okay, next thing we need to figure out is why it's doing that. think it's because I've still written my selectors wrong. Descendant selectors, CSS. 435. CSS combinators. Direct children. Child selector, yep. I want to select the direct child. So in this element, I want to select all divs which are a direct descendant, specifically the first one, specifically the second one. All right, that's it. That's it. Okay, cool. So visually speaking, we're back to where we started, but we're in a much better place when it comes to how these things are laid out, because now I can add things like margin top to like something, like margin top to this, or like padding within the template selector, or you know, padding to one element, and I don't need to worry about like adding it in two places at the same time. I can just add to like one place and then it'll work. Yes, that's working looking a lot better. Cool. Okay. Great. Yeah, so what do we move on from here? We got 25 minutes. And we can do a little cleanup. We can get rid of this. We can get rid of that function, which before I do that, I should get rid of the function. Okay, and what could I feasibly do in the time we have remaining together? Yeah, you know, I've been thinking about like the UI for actually adding template blocks, because I think in its most ideal form, this like add new layout block kind of brings up like a UI. So it's like add new layout block, and then you get like a modal pop-up or something that says, yeah, which layout block would you like? Would you like the window pane? Would you like the side-by-side? Would you like this individual one? And then you select that, it adds it at the point in the page where you are, and you just go from there. So I think we could research how to do that, because like modals are like this notoriously tricky thing to do. Well, it's not exactly tricky. I mean, you know, you have a button which makes you know, some like absolutely positioned div show up on the page. That's like level 1, but there's all kinds of like accessibility considerations to modals, because they don't fit in the document flow, and so far as the screen reader is concerned, like what it sees is the document flow. So like specifically what markup you've written on the page and the position you've put it in. So if you want to have like a modal on the page, then you need to like change focus to the modal while it's open and return focus to the point in the page that you launched the modal from after the modal closes. So I wonder if there's a library we can use to that, because it's really hard to do well. Reagents, modal, library. Reagent modals, oh, perfect. Reagent cookbook. Let's see, Bootstrap Modal components for reagents. You just need to call it modal. Send message to the user, size large. function to close modal. Whoa. jQuery inside closure script. It's pretty wild. Modal. So you want to add a modal window to your Reagent web app, huh? Is this where it just was? It is. Compile closure script files. Yeah, this could be an interesting opportunity to get into like JavaScript, closure script, interop, and definitely JavaScript, closure script, interops by way of React, because I know there's like a ton of like React libraries written in just like normal, React by way of JavaScript, and those are probably going to have exactly what I want. And they're going to have exactly what I want, but not include this like jQuery stuff. It's like this is not only like oriented towards like Bootstrap, which is a UI library that I'm not using and I don't think I want to use, and it's also like really tied into the Bootstrap ecosystem to the point that it's also using jQuery to control like JavaScript stuff, which is what just normal like kind of frameworkless Bootstrap will use in order to like add functionalities to those UI components. So yeah, I think an interest of like getting a little better with like ClojureScript in the first place, and in order to avoid having to integrate Bootstrap, which is like a real big library. I think that's what I'm going to do. So maybe like accessible apps modal library. Just something real small. React ARIA modal. Let's see. Focus is trapped. Yep. Escape will close the modal. Yep. Scrolling is frozen. Yep. Focus returns. Yep. ARIA roll of dialog. Yep. Yep. Clicking the underlay closes the modal. Yep. It's everything that we want. Everything that we want. Okay. So how do we use it? You npm install it. You give it some state to tell it if it's open. Oh. Activate modal. Deactivate modal. Okay, so open the modal, close the modal, get application node. Get application node. Yeah, it's all okay. Man, I wish Clojure had this. They've got these like really sweet like go-to definition things for JavaScript libraries nowadays, where you can just like click on a function name and that'll take you to the place in the library where the thing is defined, but only for JavaScript, not for Clojure, which I suppose is not too surprising, but it'd be very cool to have it anyway. All right, yeah, this looks like everything I want and nothing I don't want, so let's install it. Okay, also getting into my first like npm stuff, which ShadowShield.js is supposed to help you with. Integrating this thing called React Modal, React ARIA Modal. Scoot that over, not the main screen. Damn it. But this one. Blink. Okay. So the front end workspace, open the terminal, exit supervisor. Cool, man. Npm install React ARIA modal. You know, perhaps sudo npm install. See that error before. I don't know if it's super important. Just save. Definitely want that in package.json, so it will install automatically when I take it somewhere. What? Miller Robin node modules bnjs package.json some crazy number. Okay, so that is actually a problem I'll need to solve, but I wonder if now I could use like the here's a bit of a mind goof. So I've got like the virtual machine which the app is running on, but I've also got a shared folder into the virtual machine, and that makes it, I think, possible for me to npm install. Oh, you know what? Maybe it's because I npm installed from my local in the shared folder. That's why I'm getting this error. Maybe? I don't know. But I do know what I want to do is this. Install --save. If I can npm install on my local and have it appear in the node modules of my shared folder, then think we're in a good spot. Is it my package.json now? Yes, it is. Okay. Cool. So we got the library integrated. That's good. Now we need to learn how to use an npm library. To use npm module shadow cljs. So there are things in here that specifically are supposed to help you with this, but I don't know what they are. Okay, JavaScript integration, npm. Using npm packages. Most npm packages, yada yada yada. Whatever string parameter is used when calling require, we transfer to the require as is. As alias is up to you. Once we have that, we can use the code like any other ClojureScript namespace. Cool. So let's go to here. Require up 2 levels. Come on, son. Give me the real require. Gimme, gimme, gimme. React ARIA model. There we go. Okay. Yeah, so this file's getting a little long, isn't it? Oh, I wonder if we could just make this a new component. I think I'm probably not going to get that far. So, as modal. Let's see if we can just like print line, or even better, print line in the context of the REPL itself. Okay. So what do we do? We try to load this into the REPL. If indeed we are even connected to it, which I don't think we are. Okay. Correct running REPL server, shadow CLJS at that port. Connect to the front end build. Okay. load this in. Oh, oh dear. It's a big, long error message. Package in this specified entries, but they are all missing. Package in React Aria Modal. So a package specified entries, but they're all missing. Okay, let's go diving into this hot mess. React Aria Modal. QRS, React Aria Modal. They are indeed all missing. How weird. I wonder if they're also missing here. Modal dist. Yeah, that is quite bizarre. I've never seen that before, but then again, I've never installed a npm package in a... Interesting. So now the files are there. We're evaluating the file. And it's coming up okay. So what happens if we try to printline modal? It's a displaced object. Wow, I've never seen that before either. But I think that means that we've got things in the right place. So we're having trouble printlining it, but maybe we should just try to use it. 452. Alright. Aria Modal. Yeah, I guess we can just kind of render the components. Easy as that. Okay, so like index, block experiment. It's no longer an experiment. Modal prop blue from the modal. So we should hopefully see this on the page. Compilation failed. And that was an old error message. That's where to put this. Usually put modals at the bottom in a given modal library. Though they seem to be neither at the bottom nor the top. Template grid. Temp class. Okay, so it should be underneath there, but it's not. What if we save again? Reload again. Stop. Oh, yep, there it is. Nope, that's not it. So our next theory is that our reloading is not working. So what if you say like if 3 is this thing on? Also not working. Oh man. Losing faith in my tools, man. That's not a good place to be. Am I getting some kind of error that I've ignored? Can't get the CSS. That's okay. could get this into a state where I'm not like experiencing these things anymore. So that'd be like really nice. Yep, no changes I'm making are showing up. Tabable, I think that's probably React ARIA Modal. Hi, hello. Can I just like send this whole function into the REPL? Get in there. Refresh. Show me my thing. Well, when the smart thing doesn't work. Alright, supervised control, stop app. Ooh, that's not good. Okay. Start app. Gotta do it the dumb way before you can do it the smart way. As I am so fond of repeating to myself. Just got to try it till it works. Tail F app. We run? Nope, not yet. Alright, 3 minutes left in the stream, 3 minutes. Yeah, where's my... we're seeing a stale build, that's why this guy hasn't showed up yet. Yeah, you gotta feel out your tools. Gotta learn. Okay, there we go. So, can I delete you and will you disappear? Yes? No, you'll crash. What? I wonder what line that is. It's probably some kind of debug thing I left in the code. String literal. So what happens if I render you, Mr. Modal? You crash my app? Yes, you will. Whoa, you'll really crash my app. Closure, script, runtime, class call, yada yada yada. Something or other. Shadow module main append.js. Displaced components. Displaced. Wonder what that means. Yeah, the first thing I can try is not importing it as anything, but just using its name. Now it's going to complain that it doesn't know what that thing is, but if I replace it like that, I think I will not see it show up. Okay. Displaced module shadow CLJS. Alright, nothing in that ducts. Duct module. That's not really what I want either. Must include displaced. Issues. Displaced. Nothing open, nothing closed. I wonder. What is this? Acquire React ARIA modal. And maybe something like that. So if we just call it modal, we'll still get all that crazy displaced stuff. We will. Cannot call a class as a function. Well, it's something you can't do, but it's an old library too. It's got that create class thing going on. Well, anyway, sounds like some debugging stuff that I'm going to do off the stream. But anyway, I think I'll call it there for now. So, yeah, didn't get all that much done this afternoon, but it's good to be back on the stream. Thanks everyone for joining. I will be streaming more regularly now that I got my, just my kind of work situation thing in balance. So anyway, I will see you tomorrow afternoon. When did I say? 2 o'clock? Yeah, I think 2 o'clock Eastern I'll be back on. So anyway, you can join me for a full-length stream then, but otherwise have a nice evening or morning or afternoon or wherever you are. Thanks for stopping by, and I will see you on Tuesday. So peace everybody, have a good day.